31-day keto challenge is kicking off tomorrow, and I am so excited. And I know so many of you are too. I've loved all the comments and excitement that I've been getting from you guys over the last couple of weeks while we're getting ready for October 1st. For those of you, don't worry, that have not had a chance to participate in this before October 1st because you're watching this video after October 1st. Please don't fret. You can start a 31-day keto challenge any day of the year. So make sure you read any of the information that I have, watch any of these videos, and go ahead and implement this challenge for you on your time schedule. And again, feel free to reach out with any questions you might have for me. Now, who am I? I am Tisha, and I run the Keto Helpline, and I am here to help make sure keto can be simplified and easily adapted into your existing lifestyle so you can reap all the amazing benefits of it. Today's video is about our meal plan. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that, kind of explain some of the reasons why I listed things the way that I did. And before we get started, if I could ask you to do me a couple quick favors, if you could just make sure you click that subscribe button and don't forget that bell icon so that you get notified of any time I have something to say and I decide to post up a video. I'd hate for you to miss out on something that's going to make a difference for your world. Feel free to follow me on social media. I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all with the handle Keto Helpline. Easiest way to get a hold of me too, through Messenger, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. I'm available at all those locations. And we do have a private Facebook group also called Keto Helpline. And that's really where we have a lot more of our discussions about what's going on, people asking questions and getting answers. So please make sure you request to join for that. I want to do a little bit of a disclaimer. Just remember, I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. I am not giving medical advice. I'm here simply sharing with you what has worked for me and my family and other people that I've counseled, as well as the information that I've gathered over the last 5 or 6 years of studying about food and nutrition and how it affects your body. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I could share this information with you. So now that we got all that off the table, let's kick this off and get started on our meal plan. So point number 1, you'll see on the meal plan, I get asked questions all the time. How much should I eat? When should I eat? Kind of all of that general theoretical. What about food? Food has become so much of everybody's lives, and it's really difficult for people to kind of dumb down that obsession with it. And that's really what hopefully keto is going to be able to help you do. Keto allows you to live your life and include food in it instead of having food be what controls your life. And that to me has been a really refreshing thing to deal with. So when it comes to when you should eat, how much you should eat, here's basics. Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat when you're not. Period. Really simple. Might even be too simple for some people to be able to kind of wrap your brain around initially, but it really is important. This is not about grazing all day long because you're afraid of eating a big meal. This is not about calorie restriction. This is not about how many calories come in versus how many calories come out. This is not about having to eat every 2 hours, which so many people in the nutrition and health fields for decades have been told. You need to eat every 2 hours to be able to help keep your blood sugar level. Well, that is the most bogus statement out there. All that does is keep your blood sugar high. And that's the last thing we want to do. Your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up, your body turns into a fat absorbing machine and holds on to every single bit of food that you have and stores it as fat. That is not what we want. So what I want you to do is not worry about it's breakfast time, it's lunch time, it's dinner time, I have to eat. No, you don't. You wake up in the morning and you're not hungry, don't eat. You don't get hungry until 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, let that be your first meal. You decide not to eat until 7 o'clock that night, that's fine too. You wake up in the morning and you are famished, starving, I recommend give yourself about 10, 15 minutes to wake up, have some water, see if you're really hungry, and if you're hungry, eat something. Try not to snack if you can. I don't want to focus on that too much this month because this is going to be transitional for a lot of you that are just getting started with keto. But snacking and grazing all day long is not good for you. We want to stop consuming food so that our body can burn the food we've eaten at those meals. And every time you eat, again, you're spiking that insulin and shutting off that fat burning process and turning on the fat absorbing process, which we want to keep to a minimum. So eat. You get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're hungry by 10 o'clock in the morning, eat a big, full meal until you are just not overly stuffed, but you are comfortably full. And then wait. You might not eat again until 5, 6, 7 o'clock that night, and that's fine. Then you're going to have another nice, comforting meal until you're full again, and that's going to be your day. If you want to eat 3 times a day, you can. If you only want to eat twice a day, you can. You want to eat 1 meal a day, you can. Little bit different things that you want to do if you're going to kind of restrict that much. But again, eating fewer meals does not mean you're eating fewer calories. This is not a calorie restriction meal plan. This is eating until you're full, not feeling ashamed of it, eating the right kinds of foods, and then getting on with your life. Hopefully I've addressed that topic. We'll move on. Next, number 2 on the meal plan, you're going to see the headline that says, eat as much food as you want. And that scares a lot of people. But again, we are not tracking, we are not counting, we are not restricting. This is not about how much food you eat or how many calories you consume. This is about eating the right types of foods. And one of the things you'll, again, start to learn as you get used to this keto lifestyle is that it's really, really difficult to overeat healthy foods. If you're grazing on donuts and cakes and cookies and it messes with your brain and your hormones, and you never get that signal that you're full, so you can keep eating and eating and eating until you are overly stuffed. And all you've done is eaten foods that have zero nutritional value for you. So because your body is still craving those nutrients, it's still going to tell you you're hungry because it still wants you to keep eating. So when you start eating nutritionally dense foods, you can't overeat them. You might initially just think, man, how could I sit down and eat a 12-ounce steak? If you're hungry enough to eat a 12-ounce steak, eat the 12-ounce steak. If you realize after you start eating it, you can only eat 8 ounces of it, don't force yourself to finish. But eat 8 ounces of steak, you're fine. You don't have to worry about how many calories that is or that isn't. So in section 2 of the meal plan, you'll see a breakdown. We've got meats, poultry, seafood, and eggs. Those are the 4 main groups. You can eat as much as you want at any of your meals when you sit down to eat. So I've kind of broken down some examples of what those are. The shopping list obviously includes a lot more options as well. But that section right there, eat as much as you like. The next section, we talk about fats. Now, you want to eat fats to help you feel full. Some people can feel full longer eating more protein. Some people need more fats in order to feel full longer. And that's going to really kind of be an individual thing for your body. So listen to your body. One of the biggest requests I have for all of you following this is start paying attention to your body. What is it saying to you? Our bodies are amazingly incredible machines that know how to run. So when we listen to our body, we learn an awful lot and can make small changes and adjustments to really reap the benefits of a successfully healthy life. So start listening to your body and really paying attention. So when it comes to your fats, I kind of got to break down. You've got your nuts and seeds. You've got your polyunsaturated, monosaturated, and saturated fats. You've got your oils. Also have some things listed about what you should avoid because you don't want to eat your seed oils, like cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil. You don't want any of those. You want your healthier fats. Now, one of the things that I think is a big misconception when it comes to keto is that you're just supposed to overconsume fat all day long. And I can understand where that comes from in certain situations. And in the very first week or two, if you are brand new to keto right now and this is your first time you're stepping into this, I would definitely suggest that you increase your fat consumption for the first 1 or 2 weeks of this. Only because the whole point of keto is that we are changing your body from being a sugar-burning machine to being a fat-fueled, fat-burning machine. And it takes some transition. It's a metabolic shift in your body. So if you are cutting your carbs, which is what we're doing automatically with this meal plan, if you don't replace another fuel source in your body, you're going to feel icky. You're going to feel tired. You might get headaches. You might get leg cramps. You might just feel totally drained, brain fog. You just can't function, almost like you have a weird flu. And we want to try to eliminate that or reduce that as much as we can. So in the very initial phases, the more fat you consume, the easier that's going to be for your body to be able to grab it and learn that it can use that for fuel instead. So I would say for the first week or two, especially to help kind of to stave off the keto flu feeling, eat extra fats if you can. Don't force yourself. Again, we're not tracking macros. You don't have to make sure you're hitting this percentage of whatever. And I have it set up this way because if you follow this meal plan, those numbers fall into place already. It's not something you have to worry about. So again, you're only doing this for fuel. And you're doing this to feel full. So don't feel like you have to do so much more. And if you're not hungry, don't eat it. So, and then one other thing real quick too, when it comes to your fats, if you're not used to eating pure fats like this, your body might take a little bit longer to get used to it. You might feel a little bit sluggish, but just push through it. You're going to be okay with it, but it's a good thing to do. So, and it's really easy. Fats are super easy to add to your meals. You can either put it on top of your food or you can cook your food in it. This is not about sitting down and drinking an 8-ounce bottle of coconut oil because you need fats for the day. That's not how this works. So take a look at that. The next section, we're actually talking about your salad greens, your green leafy vegetables. Pretty much if it's a leaf, you can eat it. And I kind of have a little bit more information there. But what I want you to do is I want you to limit that to up to about 2 cups per day. Now that for some people that sounds like an awful lot of vegetables, and for some people it's like, really, only 2 cups a day? That's so little. Now again, I'm talking about your salad greens. So I'm talking about your spinach, your lettuce, your leaves that you can eat. And it's just, even though vegetables are healthy, they are still carbs. And because we're not tracking, and because I'm trying to get everybody into kind of a really basic, easy version of this, there's certain foods you can eat a ton of, and there's certain foods you want to kind of restrict some. If you end up having 3 cups one day, it's not going to knock you out of ketosis and things aren't going to be horrible. But again, there are carbs in your vegetables, and we want to try and eliminate as many carbs as we can during this process. And restricting how many carbs you have is how that happens. So next section, we talk about other vegetables, our non-leafy vegetables. What you want to focus on there is you really want to focus on the vegetables that are grown above ground. There are, again, exceptions to that rule. For those, you want to kind of keep it at around 1 cup, and that's uncooked. When you're measuring as far as how much 1 cup is, that's before you've cooked it, not after you've cooked it. You know that with a lot of vegetables, once you cook it, it shrinks up a ton. So you're looking at 1 cup. So you have 1 cup of broccoli before it's cooked, or 1 cup of cauliflower before it's cooked, 1 cup of cauliflower rice. So you want to kind of think about that. Again, it comes down to the carbs. It's still going to be a good food you can introduce. Adds a little more variety to the meal itself, but you're looking at about 1 cup of that. The next section we talk about is dairy, your cheeses. So again, broke down a list of different types of cheeses. We have a list of cheeses on the shopping list. You're looking at up to 4 ounces per day. If you have a dairy intolerance because of the casein or the whey or the lactose or whatever the case is, don't consume dairy. If you don't want to consume any cheeses, you don't have to. If you can consume cheeses without any issues, and it's something that you really want to have, then go ahead. Just keep it to about 4 ounces per day. That would be my recommendation. Cheeses are going to be great for your fats, little tiny bits of protein that will be in there, and it's in a great addition, a great flavor to add some of the foods if you can tolerate it. Next, which is section 7, actually talks to you about how to build your meals. Now, I don't have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I did that very intentionally, just like I said at the beginning of the video. What I don't want is you to assume it's breakfast time, I have to eat, number 1. And number 2, I don't want you to think it's breakfast time, I have to eat breakfast foods, because that's not what this is about either. If you don't eat your first meal until 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you want a salad, have a salad, even though that's technically breakfast because it's your first meal of the day. But don't get stuck on the labels and the names and the times of when you're used to those things happening. So I have it listed as your first meal of the day and your last meal of the day. And if you want a third meal, I have some information on that too. So go ahead and download that file, take a look at that. Your very first meal of the day, you want to have your highest fat consumption. So you're going to pick out of section 2, which is all the foods that you can eat. You're going to go ahead and pick the foods you want out of there to eat, and then I want you to add 1 or 2 fats to it. So let's say, for example, you decide you want to have a steak for your first meal of the day. That's great. You can have as much steak as you'd like, and then I want you to add a fat to it. So what are 1 or 2 fats? You could add avocado to it. You could cook it in a avocado oil or coconut oil. You could cook it in lard or butter. You could just put a slab of butter on top of the steak if you'd like afterwards. There's different things like that you can do to add some additional fats to that food. And that's what you'd be able to do for your first meal of the day. Your last meal of the day, You still want to have some fats in that meal as well, but you want to kind of tone it down a little bit because you're going to be getting ready to go to sleep at some point. That's your last meal for the day. So again, you're picking something out of the all-you-can-eat deal, and if you want to add some salad greens and you want to add some steamed vegetables, or you want to cook them in butter or whatever it is you want to do with your vegetables, you want to have some cooked vegetables, you can do that. One of the things I do suggest, though, is that when you are coming up with either your middle meal or your last meal of the day, you're going to pick out something from the all-you-can-eat section. If you're going to then add something else, either add your salad greens and cooked vegetables or add your fats. Try not to add your fats and your vegetables with your food. If you can, again, it's not going to be horrible if you do. If you want to sit down and have a hamburger with no bun and a salad with olive oil dressing, you can do that. That's fine. But just kind of introduce your body to some of these things, and it's going to be a little bit different for your body to process. So I would recommend either eat from the all-you-can-eat section and add some fats, or the all-you-can-eat section and add some cooked veggies and some salad greens as your final meal of the day. I think that would be the best. And then if you're going to put in a third meal, that could be your lunchtime, middle day meal, whatever that is. Again, something from the all-you-can-eat, and then I would go ahead and pick either a salad green or a cooked vegetable to add into that meal. So I break that down a little bit more on the meal plan itself to give you a little bit more information. And then the very last thing I have on there is just if you have questions, make sure you reach out and ask me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I want to make sure you're not struggling, you're not confused, you're not frustrated. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible for you. So hopefully this meal plan gives you a good starting point. You are going to have questions, and that's fine. Again, I'm happy to answer them. And I think that covers everything we have for the meal plan. Remember, this is not about eating all day long. This is not about calorie restriction. This is not about grazing, snacking, having to eat every 2 hours. This is about eating when you're hungry, not eating when you're not, reducing your snacking, eating the right kinds of food, as much of those foods as you'd like, and making a significant difference in your health. So I am Tisha with the Keto Helpline. I will be back again very soon. Hope you have a fantastic day, and let's kick off this 31-day challenge with super, super big excitement, and I will see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.